I decided to move back home and live with mom and dad, so stop mooching off them and leave. My brother said, trying to kick me out. Both my mother and my brother's fiancé treat me like a parasite as well. My brother probably doesn't even know that I pay $2,500 to mom and dad for living expenses every month. They say whatever they want, such as that I'm mooching off or I'm a parasite. Have they thought about what will happen to this house if I'm gone? I'll make these idiots understand their position. So, I decided to put a plan into action immediately. My name is Emily, 30 years old. I live with my parents, who are both in their 60s, in our family home. My father worked for a large construction company, but he quit the job last year. However, he started working again as a security guard recently. My mother has been a full-time homemaker and has always lived off my father's income. She loves dressing up and she always asks my father for accessories on her birthdays or Mother's Day. She buys herself clothes and bags frequently, and seems to be uncomfortable unless she is wearing something trendy. One of her hobbies is going to hotels with her friends for lunches and afternoon teas. Almost every week, she goes out saying, "Off to some afternoon activities again today." Perhaps I've been influenced by my mother, who loves fashion. I graduated from a technical school for design and worked at a jewelry-related company where I designed accessories and watches. 4 years ago, I quit the company and became an independent jewelry designer. I design jewelry on my computer, send the designs to a production company, make small adjustments, and complete the products. I can do most of my work at home. After I started working, I set up a bank account and have been depositing a fixed amount into it as living expenses for my parents every month. I have been depositing $2,500 every month for the past year since my father quit his job at a large construction company. While $2,500 is a significant amount of money, it's not a crippling expense. Luckily, my work is going well. My father thinks that going to the construction site or office is the only way to get work done, and he doesn't think well of my remote work. He seems to look down on my job since he thinks that drawing pictures and chatting on the computer at home is not work. I once gave my mother, who loves accessories, a necklace and a ring that I designed. They were gold accessories with emeralds, and I thought she would be happy with them. However, she seems to think that the jewelry made using a computer is a children's toy and she has never worn them. My mother also doesn't seem to understand the fact that I work from home. My father had always been fond of gamble, but he got into online casinos about 6 months ago. He spends most of his salary on the online casino and stopped paying any living expenses. There is almost no severance pay left, which would have been quite a lot of money. In fact, we're able to make ends meet thanks to the money I contribute. The reason why his severance pay is almost all gone isn't solely due to my father's gambling. He used a significant portion of it for renovating the house. When my father quit his construction job, my mother said, "Let's renovate the house and make it look like a newly built house." As a result of the renovation, both the exterior and interior of the house look brand new. The interior is designed to be barrier-free, and kitchen, bathroom, and toilet are all latest models. My mother wanted to look good not only for her own appearance, but also for the appearance of the house, and she looked satisfied when she saw the house after the remodeling was done. By the way, she believes, my husband is working even though he is over 65 years old, yet our daughter is just playing at home all the time. So, she makes me do all household chores. I've explained about my work multiple times, but my parents continue to label me as the daughter who won't leave the house and also who can't get married. In reality, they are both being supported by that daughter. However, they seem to think that it's only natural for me to pay for the living expenses, and they have never shown gratitude. I have a brother, who is 3 years older than me, and his name is Caleb. Unlike me, he has been adored and expected by my parents since he was a little boy. He graduated from a prestigious private university and landed a job at a well-known shopping mall, which I'm quite familiar with. Upon starting his job, he moved out of the house and has been out of touch ever since. My mother repeatedly said, "It would have been nice if it were Caleb instead of you who lives here with us." It appears that my mother values her estranged son more than her daughter, who contributes $2,500 every month and takes care of all the household chores. One night, as we were having dinner together, the house phone rang. "Oh, Caleb. How have you been?" It seemed that the caller was my brother. My mother's voice suddenly became brighter, a tone I hadn't heard in a while. "Is that so? I understand. I'm looking forward to it." When she hung up the phone, she looked unusually cheerful. "Was it Caleb? Did something happen?" Even my father, who usually doesn't show his emotions much, seems concerned about my brother. "He said that he is bringing his fiancée this Saturday." "Oh, I see. Caleb is finally getting married." My father seemed happy and excited. Well, it doesn't matter to me. I was thinking that way at the time. The following Saturday, my brother and his fiancée came to our house around noon. My brother has always had a somewhat handsome face, and he used to boast about never having trouble finding a girlfriend. After meeting him again after a while, I noticed he had gained a bit of weight, but for people around his age, he still seemed to fall into the handsome group. Nevertheless, I don't hold any positive feelings towards my brother. Since I can remember, my brother has only seen me as a wrestling partner or a servant. My parents prioritized and favored him over me, so there was no point complaining to them when he hit me. Despite the fact that we had lost touch with him for a long time, I've never once missed my brother. The person who my brother introduced as someone I'm going to marry soon was a beautiful woman with long black hair and an elegant appearance. Her name is Sophia, and she is 5 years younger than my brother. I learned that she works at a customer service in the shopping mall where my brother works. Perhaps due to her profession, her choice of words and demeanor are exceedingly polite. My parents seemed to take a liking to her at first sight, and they were engaging in conversation with Sophia. However, I felt something strange. "I've heard that you used to always follow after Caleb when you were little, Emily. You must love your big brother so much." Grinning face with smiling eyes. "Yeah, that's right. She used to be so attached to me. And now she's attached to my parents' house." Grinning face with smiling eyes. "I used to always run away from my brother since he looked down on me. Somehow, that seems to have been turned into a story of us being close siblings. My brother's character hasn't changed a bit, and he seems to be still self-centered after all these years." Knowing that it's a waste of time to argue back, I was about to head back to my room to continue working. "Emily, hold on a second. I came to talk about something important today." "Is it something that involves me?" I didn't know what it was about, but I wondered why I had to listen to it too. While I wasn't sure, I took a seat again. "I'm coming back to this house." "What?" I was taken aback by my brother's sudden statement. After all those years of not hearing from him. "Oh, you are coming back? How wonderful." "Yeah, that's great." My mother's eyes gleamed with delight, and even my father seemed pleased. There is no doubt that they are happy because having my brother live with us would mean that they get more money for living expenses. "That's why I need you to stop mooching off and get out of the house, okay?" My brother said to me. "What? Mooching?" "I heard that you've been staying at home and drawing pictures on the computer without working. You're 30 now, and it's about time for you to stop leeching off Mom and Dad." My brother seems unaware that I pay them $2,500 for living expenses every month. He's throwing around words like mooching and leeching without any regard. "I work from home, you know." "Working from home, huh? If idiots like you could make money just by staying at home, everyone would be doing it. Caleb, I've been telling her the same thing forever, but Emily just wouldn't leave the house. Just because you can't get married, don't rely on us and get your act together. Especially now that Sophia is going to live here, quit staying home all day and be independent. You're a lazy good-for-nothing. I don't understand what my mother is saying. She's making me do all the housework and relying on my income, yet. His fiancée is smirking and nodding along with an amused expression. My brother and his fiancée, they're quite the pair, a perfect match. Stacy, I'll do the housework. See? If you're around, Sophia won't be able to move in. I'll give you a week, so pack up and leave, you moocher. They seem excited about kicking me out, but my father should know better than anyone that his salary vanishes into gambling and that his severance pay is almost gone, and he should also know that they won't be able to live without my money. However, my father, who has always followed my mother's lead, is left speechless with shifty eyes. I don't even want a family like this and a house like this to begin with. I've considered leaving my family home many times before. However, because my faith quit the construction job and I also considered my mother's extravagance and his gambling addiction, and I've paid them the living expenses and lived with them thinking it was for my family's sake. It seems the day has finally come for them to understand what would happen to this home when I leave. I've decided to make them pay for all their mistreatment. Determined, I returned to my room. As soon as I entered my room, I transferred all the money remained in the account, where I've been putting the living expenses into, to my main bank account. The utility bills and credit card payments for this month had not been taken out of the account yet, so the balance was just under $4,000. With that, I began packing and started looking for a new place. A week later, the day of my moving has come. A truck arrived in front of the house early in the morning. Why did you call a moving company? You only have your computer for drawing, right? Well then, please proceed with the work. The items to be moved are as I informed you in advance. I just ignored my mother and gave the instructions to the movers. The movers efficiently loaded up my belongings from my room and then proceeded to carry out the appliances one by one. A washing machine, a microwave, a dishwasher, a rice cooker, a cordless vacuum cleaner, all of them are the latest models. What are you doing? You are not supposed to take these. Shocked, my mother chased after the movers carrying the appliances. What are you saying? I bought all of these appliances. They're mine, so of course I'm taking them with me. It's close to impossible to handle all the household chores while working from home. That's why I had purchased the latest appliances so that I can save time on doing the chores by using them. Don't be so selfish. We are going to be in trouble. Matt, come here. My mother started fussing and called for my father. When my father came to the room, he just stood still, not knowing what to do. Yes, I thought you might have a hard time, so I decided to leave the refrigerator. Or can I take that, too? Just as my mother was rendered speechless, the movers finished loading the items. Well then, goodbye and take care, I smiled and waved at my parents before leaving my family home. My new place was in the city center. I rented an apartment directly connected to the train station. It was a spacious one-bedroom apartment and it was more comfortable than I had imagined. Living alone was so comfortable. Nobody would nag me and I had time for myself. Needless to say, I was able to work more efficiently than before after I moved. It has been a month since I left my parents' house, and when I was enjoying living by myself, I received a call from my brother. Hey you, this isn't what we agreed upon. As soon as I picked up the phone, I heard my brother's shouting voice. I figured it was about time he called, so I wasn't particularly surprised, but he was so loud. What? Why are you yelling like that? What's wrong? What's wrong? Don't play dumb. Did you know that Dad's addicted to gambling? Oh yeah, he is crazy with gambling, so I don't think there's a penny left in Dad's paycheck every month, let alone his severance pay. Huh? What? No more severance pay. It seemed that my brother was after my father's severance pay from a large construction company, and he also assumed that my father had a good income from working as a security guard. I explained to him that a significant portion of his severance pay had been used for the renovation for the house. I told him about our father's gambling problem and our mother's overspending. That's why I used to pay them $2,500 every month for living expenses. But how much have you been contributing, Caleb? When I mentioned $2,500, my brother seemed shocked and fell silent. It appeared that my brother was indeed unaware of the substantial amount I had been contributing for living expenses. $2,500. How much do you earn? And where did the rest of the money that you've been giving them go? My brother is slurring his words, as if he can't keep up with his thoughts. I withdrew all the remaining money in the account before leaving. I don't live there, so I don't have to pay for the living expenses anymore, right? Did you think that I'd quietly leave after being called incompetent, a moocher, and a parasite? Please, come back. No, I won't go back. Besides, you work at a well-known shopping mall, so you must be earning quite a bit, right? Take care of it on your own. Oh, by the way, did something happen at work? When I asked while playing dumb, my brother reluctantly began to talk. He had been working in the foreign trade department of the main branch of a major shopping mall. This department specializes in selling products to the mall's exclusive clientele and was often referred to as the ultimate in hospitality. My brother had been working enthusiastically in that department, but suddenly he was reassigned to the customer service department, where they handle all the complaints from customers of a store facing potential closure 2 weeks ago. Well, that's the advantage of a major shopping mall. They act swiftly, I remarked, although my brother probably wouldn't grasp the underlying meaning. When I quit my job at the company 4 years ago, I started my own jewelry brand, and I've been designing and also selling products. Though I initially began with online sales, my business grew steadily, and now I have multiple stores in major shopping malls, including the one my brother works for. I was approached to open another store just a month ago. However, I told the manager that I preferred to work with a different mall rather than the one that had an employee who would drive their family out of their home, and declined his offer. Additionally, I decided not to renew the contract for the existing shop in their mall. As a result, my brother was demoted. When I shared this information with my brother, he seemed unable to find words and groaned. By the way, how's Sophia doing? Since Mom doesn't do any household chores, it must be tough for her. Sophia has left. She found out about my reassignment and cut off contact. It appeared that my brother's fiancée had assumed that she could live an easy and free life in a beautiful house, enjoying all its comforts for free. Furthermore, it seemed that she had approached my brother because he works at foreign trade department in a major shopping mall, which had promising future prospects from the beginning. However, upon his demotion, her interest in him had waned. Emily, help me out. You'll come back, right? My brother pleaded. Even if the incapable moocher comes back, she won't be of any use, will she? I responded. That. I shouldn't have said those things. I'll apologize, okay? I'm cutting ties with you all, so please don't contact me anymore. Wait a minute. My brother was still trying to say something, but I hung up on him. In the end, my brother was demoted and his engagement was broken off as well. While he held a position at his previous department, he was relegated to a regular employee role in his new department. People had already found out the reasons behind his reassignment, and he faced harsh treatment from his colleagues. He couldn't handle the complaints from customers either. My mother told me over the phone that he had voluntarily resigned after a few months. During that call, my mother also said something like this: "Your father can't quit going out for gambling and online casinos either. Ultimately, it's your fault." She had vented her dissatisfaction and took it out on me for some reason. It seemed like my mother hadn't really changed her lifestyle either. She must be enjoying buying clothes and accessories and indulging in her afternoon activities. My brother couldn't find a job in a shopping mall industry. He managed to find a part-time job at an electronics store, but his pride got in the way and he didn't last long. Unable to sustain himself and our parents with just unemployment benefits, he had resorted to borrowing money from consumer finance companies. As for me, I have been enjoying my comfortable solo life. Well, actually, my family had grown recently. I had adopted an adorable munchkin cat. I had been pleading to have a cat since I was small, but my mother disliked animals and never allowed it. As for work, after my brother voluntarily resigned, the shopping mall that he worked for approached me again to apologize and also asked me to open a store. The store offered to cover most of the initial costs, including interior design expenses. I decided to go ahead and open the store again, and my business is doing well in other locations as well.